Hi, thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea, and this video is about a question, which is, hold on one second, let me read the question. Is there any way to tell if a person is likely to cheat in a relationship? Okay, well, of course, if you know who I am, you know that I am a spiritual teacher, coach, personal development coach. For me, my path, my purpose right now, where I'm at in my life, one of the things that is most important to me at this time is my spiritual advancement. So I'm giving you that kind of heads up so you'll understand how I'm answering this question. Okay, so if someone were to ask me that question, this is the way I would answer. Now, I'm not telling you this is the only answer, because someone else may answer it quite differently and give a very good answer as well. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's say, for example, maybe in the past you've had an experience where you've dated and the person has cheated on you. And that greatly affected you, and maybe still today is greatly affecting you. So first and foremost, I would be wondering why the person would be asking this question. So that is one of the things I'd most likely ask you is, what is the reason for this question? Why is this question on your mind? You know, if you've met someone and you think you're going to start dating, there's going to be a reason why this question is on your mind, as if you could tell if they're likely to cheat in a relationship. Okay, history is a great teacher. If the way you got into the relationship is because you met someone who was already dating someone and they cheated on that person with you, then broke up with that person to go with you, well, history is a good teacher. There is a good chance that will also happen to you. But let's dig a little bit deeper, because most people aren't just satisfied with an answer of, yeah, most likely it's going to happen, don't date that person. Because maybe you really like that person, him or her. Maybe you have really strong feelings and you just can't take no, don't date them for an answer. So let's dig a little bit deeper. There's a reason why people do things. There's always a reason why things happen. There's an answer for everything. I recently gave a psychic reading to a lady who is dating someone where she's at that point where they've broken up, gotten back together a couple times, and in the past their problem has been his cheating. And she's just not sure it's going to work. She's just not, she's at a point where she's like, he wants, when he comes back, he wants to come back. I'm just not sure that he's really going to be able to straighten things on his end out, to be able to commit to a relationship and to put forth what I think he needs to put forth for this to work. But here's the thing. In the past, he'd had an experience that affected him greatly, where a girlfriend had cheated on him. He then became the cheater. Now, I know some of you who have experiences with being cheated on. I can hear you in my head right now going, that's not an excuse, that's bogus. Just because he was cheated on, for him to turn around and hurt another person, that's no excuse. No, you may be right. However, things that happen to us sometimes greatly affect us, experiences we go through. I'm sure this is not a big surprise to you, but sometimes the abused do become the abuser. It's something that greatly affected them. Now, for him, it was something where we call that an unresolved issue in the past, something that he never got over. Never got over it. He never had any kind of probably closure from that happening to him. It was not something that ended up being resolved within him. He was maybe so hurt by it that even on some level we could say subconsciously he may be looking to cheat. And it could even be like a kind of tit for tat thing. If I was treated this way, why should others be free and clear of this happening? So many possibilities of how that person cheating on him could have affected him that now led to him now being this person who has a problem with cheating. Sometimes it's what people were raised with. You know, it's not unusual for people to be raised in a family where one of the parents was a big-time cheater, and growing up the kids saw this. They saw this and actually somehow ended up believing this is the typical family dynamic. This is typical. This is usual. This is normal. Now, of course, you may think, well, when they grew up at some point, shouldn't they have realized it wasn't normal? Often by that time, they have a hard time breaking the bonds of something that they believed for such a long time. There are even like some families where members weren't nice to each other. They weren't loving and kind and nurturing, and they were very antagonistic with each other. And that was the norm for them to be in a family that was like that. And so then when they got older, that was just the norm, that type of behavior. And they brought that to their relationships. So I would say, first of all, there's always a reason why people do the things that they do. Now, if I was on the radio show and somebody asked me this question, said, okay, I met someone, can you tell me, is this person going to cheat on me? I don't normally like to, I may answer a question like that. I don't really like to answer a question like that because I do kind of feel like you don't need a psychic for that. You should have done your homework. And by that, what I mean is, when you meet people, you take the time to communicate with them, ask questions, get to know them, get to know like some of what they've got going on in the past. But sometimes we've already jumped into the relationship before we found out many things about them, before we've even found out whether they've had decent relationships in the past. Just asking some basic questions about past relationships with parents, siblings. Hey, why are you still single? Why is a great guy like you still single? I'm sure you've dated in the past. What happened to your past relationships? Sometimes people feel awkward asking those questions. They feel like, oh, it's not really my business. He wasn't with me then. What if he doesn't want to talk about it? Well, maybe that in itself is an answer. Maybe that in itself should tell you, proceed with caution. If the person doesn't want to answer certain questions for you that would help you determine if this is a relationship you should be getting into. Is this person really a vibrational match for where you are right now? You may be a very nice person that has never cheated, would never cheat, and then here comes this person that for all intents and purposes seems like a vibrational match for you. And maybe in many, many ways they are. Maybe in all other ways they are, except for maybe this one issue. This one issue they have. Well, if that one issue is cheating as a deal breaker for you, then they're not a vibrational match for you. If it's a deal breaker for where you are right now at this time in your life, and that's a deal breaker for you, then they're not so much of a vibrational match as you would think. Yes, you may be attracted to them. There may be things you like about them. There may be times when you can communicate and really jive together, but you can't look at just a piece of things. You have to be brave enough to look at it as a whole. Look at all of it. If I sit up a pie in front of you And half of the pie looks perfectly baked. But then the other half, it looks kind of weird. It actually looks like it's been dropped. Just half of it. Are you going to accept the pie just because half of it looks okay, but the other half of it looks like it's been dropped and stepped on? Are you going to say, I'll accept the whole thing because half of it looks good? A part of it looks good? No, you may say, let me look and see if there's another pie that doesn't look like it's been dropped. I mean, isn't that what we do when we go in the grocery store? If we go in the bakery, we don't usually tend to, if we're getting a pie or something, we don't just tend to just grab one without even half looking at it. If they've got several of the same pie sitting there, don't we usually look at them all to determine which one of the three we want to buy? We want to buy the best looking one, right? What I'm just saying is you want to take into consideration the whole picture. You want to take everything there is to be taken into consideration when making your decision. Yes, he or she may make your heart go pity-patter. You may get the butterflies in your stomach. But you can't go just off of that. Initial attraction is great. We need that to be able to come together. But other factors are just as important. And you can't ignore them just because the way your heart races when you're around him and the tingling in your stomach, we can't enjoy that feeling so much that we ignore everything else. So yeah, you do have to be very smart about it. What is your, inner self telling you? What kind of, what's your intuition telling you? Yeah, you may feel like, yeah, but there's something about him or her. But what else is standing out to you? What questions are popping up into your head? Because I bet your intuition is talking to you about it, if you will listen. Now, the short answer to this for me is there any way to tell if a person is likely to cheat in a relationship? My answer is yes, absolutely. History is an excellent teacher. You really have to have really good willpower and control over yourself, because you may really like this person. You may like so many things about this person. But it's going to take a little bit of control and willpower on your part to, in the end, do what is best for yourself. You have to still put yourself first. If you can't put yourself first and do what's best for yourself, no one else is going to do that for you. You can't expect of another person what you will not give your own self. So if you have, any questions as to the integrity of the person that you're considering dating, stop. Spend a little bit more time getting to know them before you proceed further on. Thank you for listening, and I hope this was helpful. If you would like to have the chance to ask a question, maybe you are in a relationship, considering getting in a relationship, or the relationship's is starting, or the relationship is not new, but maybe it's not going so well, or you're not sure how well it's going, feel free to call us on the radio show, Seekers of Truth, which is every Tuesday and Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We discuss many spiritual topics. Most of them are spiritually related topics. We do discuss some metaphysical topics, and we answer psychic reading questions utilizing my higher self. I've been on a spiritual path for quite some time now, and so with the merging that I did with my higher self allows me to bring forward answers to questions of a higher divine nature, as well as I do have actual psychic abilities. I'm an empath, I'm clairsentient, And so feel free to join us or just come listen in. We would be more than happy to have you and to answer your questions. That's blogtalkradio.com/seekers of truth. Feel free to also check me out at my website if you would like, SherryAndrea.com. And there is a Get Help Now on the menu, a Get Help Now link on the menu, where you can make a donation of any amount if you would like to either have a 30-minute reading or coaching session. As long as I have time, I always give as much time as needed, to the person, so you don't have to worry about time limits most of the time. I thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed this discussion, and I hope that it helped you. Thank you. Have a great day. Namaste.